Today, I'm going to tell you a story you've probably never heard in full before. Not because it isn't important, but because it's often overlooked. It's one of those hidden moments in Scripture that doesn't get the spotlight, yet it carries a message that still hits just as hard today. A story about power, about oppression, about an unexpected deliverer, and a turning point that changed a nation's history. It's not the kind of story you hear every day, but maybe that's exactly why you need to hear it today. Because sometimes the most overlooked stories carry the deepest truths. What if the person chosen to save a nation didn't look like a warrior at all? No army, no armor, no battlefield strategy. Just one man, a hidden weapon, and a moment that would change everything. This is a story of Ehud, the man no one suspected, and the king who never saw it coming. This story comes from the book of Judges chapter 3, verses 12 to 30. It's a time in Israel's history marked by a cycle. The people turn away from God. They fall into trouble. They cry out, and God raises a deliverer. But this time, the deliverer would be unexpected. The people of Israel had done it again. They turned away, and this time, God allowed a new enemy to rise. Eglon, King of Moab. He wasn't just powerful, he was strategic. He formed alliances. He built an army. And then he struck. Israel was defeated. The land was taken. And for 18 years, 18 solid years, my friends, Israel lived under oppression. Every harvest taxed, every household burdened, every hope fading. And then, like always, they cried out. God answered their cry, but not with an army, not with a general. He chose a man named Ehud from the tribe of Benjamin. And here's the detail that changes everything. Ehud was left-handed. In a world where warriors trained with their right hand, where guards searched the left side for weapons, Ehud was different. And that difference was about to become a weapon. Ehud didn't rush into battle. He planned, carefully, quietly. He made a dagger, double-edged, sharp, deadly, about 18 inches long. And then he did something unexpected. He strapped it to his right thigh, hidden, completely out of sight, because no one would check there. Not for a man like him, not for someone they underestimated. And that was the plan. Now here's a detail most people read and quickly move past, but it actually matters more than you think. In Judges 3 verse 17, the Bible describes King Eglon as a very fat man. That's not just a random comment. The Bible doesn't waste details like that. It's telling you something. This is a king who lived in excess. While Israel struggled, he indulged. While others lacked, he had more than enough. Power, comfort, luxury, that was his life. But there's another layer. That same description hints at vulnerability. Because sometimes what looks like strength on the outside is actually weakness underneath. A man who seemed untouchable wasn't as secure as he thought. And that contrast is powerful. Outward authority, but hidden fragility. A ruler who dominated a nation for 18 years, yet fell in a single moment. Just like that. It's a reminder, not everything that looks powerful truly is. And sometimes, the higher someone builds themselves in comfort and excess, the harder and faster they fall. Ehud joined the group, delivering tribute to King Eglon. Gold, food, resources, a reminder that Israel was under control. They entered the palace. Massive pillars, rich fabrics, guards everywhere. And there he was, King Eglon, a man of power, a man of excess, a man who thought he was untouchable. Ehud approached calmly, respectfully, nothing suspicious, nothing threatening, just another servant, bringing tribute. But behind the calm, the plan was already in motion. The tribute was delivered. Everything seemed finished. Ehud left with the others. But then he stopped, turned around, and went back, alone. "I have a secret message for you, O king." Those words changed everything. Eglon was intrigued, curious, important enough to hear a secret. He dismissed everyone, cleared the room. Now it was just the king and Ehud. The room was quiet, still, heavy. Eglon rose from his seat, leaning in to listen, and in that moment, Ehud moved, not with hesitation, not with fear, but with precision. His left hand reached across, drew the hidden dagger, and struck, fast, decisive, final. No noise, no warning, no second chance. The king who ruled for 18 years fell in seconds. Ehud didn't panic. He didn't run wildly. He moved with control. He stepped out, closed the doors behind him, and locked them. Outside, the servants waited. They assumed the king was resting, so they delayed. Minutes passed, and those minutes were everything, because Ehud was already gone. Ehud escaped to the hill country of Ephraim, and there he blew the trumpet, a sound that echoed through the mountains, a call to rise, a call to fight. "Follow me," he said, "for the Lord has given your enemies into your hands." This wasn't just escape anymore. This was war. This was war. Israel responded. They moved quickly, strategically. They took control of the Jordan crossings, cutting off escape. And when Moab tried to flee, they were stopped, defeated, overpowered. 10,000 strong men fell. Not one escaped. The oppressors were no longer in control. That day, my friend, Moab was subdued. Israel was free, and the land had peace. For 80 years, all because one man used what made him different as his greatest strength. Sometimes the very thing that makes people overlook you is the same thing God plans to use to elevate you. Think about it. Ehud didn't fit the image of a hero. He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't the most obvious choice. In fact, he was easy to ignore. But that difference, that one detail everyone else dismissed, became the reason he succeeded. While others trained one way, he moved another way. While others were expected, he was unpredictable. And in a single moment, that difference became an advantage. It opened a door no one else could walk through, and that moment changed everything. So here's the question. What if the thing you've been insecure about is actually your edge? What if the part of you that feels out of place is exactly where your purpose is hidden? Ehud wasn't the obvious choice, but he was the right one. And when the moment came, he stepped into it. So maybe it's time to stop asking, why am I different? And start asking, what was I designed to do with it?